Welcome to another edition. Is this live, folks? We got the signal from John the Tiger Kiger. Welcome to Pittsburgh Sports Line. Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate everybody out there on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, exclusively only on Comcast 7 in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us each night everywhere, and you know you can see every one of our shows, all of them on YouTube. And it's a great day for sports. We got a lot of interesting things and late breaking news. We'll bring that out to you on sports. And I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Chip the Prophet Hayner. Smoking Jim Frazier's here on time. He beat me to the studio tonight. Zach Brenner's here. We got nobody sneaking in behind closed doors here to get in the studio. We always start with what's on our mind, and I'm going to start that right now. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well,
Sports.
Well, I was in the talking machine. What's on my mind? Johnny football. Johnny football is not really what's on my mind. And neither is the other bearded guy that's back with the Steelers, Brett Keisel. I don't feel like, well, I'm sure Jim Frazier will elaborate more on what Brett Keisel's actual impact will be this season. Pretty much what it's been like the last 4 seasons of his NFL career, which has been abysmal. He's got minimal pressure on the quarterback, and that was even in a time when we had Casey Hampton at nose tackle. He still couldn't do anything when we had Big Snack in the middle. So I want to give a shout out to Brett Keisel. I might be the least excited person in the city, you know, with a beard to see him back, but that's neither here nor there. What else is on my mind tonight, folks, is Chip Hayner's Buccos are in a losing streak right now. They're about to get Andrew McCutchen back tonight, I heard, if that's correct, Chip.
He's in the starting lineup.
And Garrett Cole's not far behind in joining Kutch and back in the lineup. So my question to you folks at home is, and a question that these guys can answer probably as the show goes on, is did the Nuttings and Neil Huntington do enough to make this team better? And given the fact that they've lost 5 straight games without Andrew McCutchen, when Kutch comes back to the lineup, will the Pirates' bats pick back up? And will this streak end? So that's what's on my mind tonight, folks. Tune in to PNC Park and see some of the answers to some of this stuff. And thanks for watching the show.
Thanks, Zach Brenner. Before we revisit, I just sense a little beard envy. And we're going to move on right now. Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got
How about the throw?
Levine, nice throw. Looked like Big Ben to Wheaton over there in the corner. But that was a better route by me than what Wheaton ran. But anywho, what's on my mind? And I like Wheaton, but what's on my mind? Oh, and then there's the number 10 that's wearing Lyman Swede. The new Lyman Swede wearing number 10 for the Steelers.
Whoa, easy in the sandbox, boys.
Yeah, but what's on my mind is, well, first of all, I don't want to make anybody mad, so I'll begin to say that the Pirates are beginning to look more and more like the 2012 collapse. I mean, 6 games in a row, and I'm thinking that 84 games and under is looking pretty good. But what's actually on my mind is smoking Ryan Shazier. And we touched on it briefly yesterday at Sip Sports Bar. But I tell you what, I've been an NFL scout for a long time. My 2 favorite middle linebackers of all time has always been Jack Lambert and Dick Butkus. But right now, my favorite middle linebacker is Ryan Shazier. He is doing things in that middle that I've never seen before, and I've watched film on every middle linebacker who's currently in the Hall of Fame. The things that he's able to do, I've always said that the Steelers are a mediocre team, an 8-8 team. Because if Ryan Shazier stays healthy, they just moved to 11-5. He's that good. He's good enough. Yeah, he's good enough to move them another 3 games, because this is a kid that, first of all, Lawrence Timmons can just sit it out. I mean, he can't even get to the tackle. Whether it's Buck or Mac's side, Shazier's there. I mean, this guy's instinctive. He's a tackling machine. He runs a legitimate 4.3 40. He's already said there ain't a running back in football that can outrun him, he don't think, that can beat him in the foot race, and that's including Dre or Dre or Dry Archer, And this guy got an NBA like 42-inch vertical jump, which you've seen already in his pass coverage. He could play safety, outside linebacker. He could play defensive end. He could play wide receiver, tight end, and maybe he can play a little quarterback. I don't know how good he can throw. This is a guy whose father is the chaplain for the Miami Dolphins football team. Well-grounded young man. Like I said, 42-inch vertical jump. Super, super strong. Bench presses 225, 25 reps. That's incredible. But I really well, this guy's his mama his papa wasn't a Rolling Stone. His papa's a chaplain, so he didn't get
music to revisit too.
He didn't get no tattoos. But lastly, also what'll help the Steelers move that needle a little bit more. They signed former Gateway High School team captain Daylon Nunley to the team as a cornerback. So whenever you get a Gateway player on the football team, that's going to help. And that's what's on my mind.
Man, I'm so excited that Gateway finally got somebody in the NFL.
This will be another one of our world-breaking revisitations. I sense it building up. Somehow I got a feeling. I don't even have to bring up a point. We may just revisit. Chip, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. I just rewind back to draft day when a certain somebody sitting in my lap said that the Steelers were making the biggest mistake ever, moving him to the inside, and already we're chiseling. We're chiseling his bust for Canton. Okay, but then
You just knocked my revisitation
That
out.
being said, and what's on my mind is the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I hope that everybody continues to write the Pirates off and say that their season's done, because that's been done about half a dozen times this year. And the one thing about this team is it is very resilient. It's gone through some bad luck as of lately, and to correct Zach, they're in the midst of a 6-game losing streak, not 5.
I didn't get there last night, so let's add it.
He was eating soup. He couldn't hear. His ears still, he can't hear. Luckily, it's in his right ear.
Okay, so it's a 6-game losing streak. It's their longest losing streak since 2012, September of 2012. And
that's why Smoking Jim brought it up, because he's a baseball fan.
And I know, but you know what? Pirates are one of the best teams. Been one of the best teams in baseball all year. They're going to turn it around. They've got the horses to do it. They get everybody healthy and on the field. Kutch is going to be back tonight. Jordy Mercer, who was on fire, will be playing shortstop tonight. Garrett Coles pitching tomorrow night. A lot of pieces are starting to come into place. My question is, how banged up are these guys? Are they coming back at 100%? But we'll wait and see. There's a reason why they play the games. Tonight's the 125th game of the season, so that still means that we've got a ways to go. We've got 37 more. And, I'm going to enjoy the ride for the last 6 weeks. It's been a great ride so far, and I'm going to ride it all the way to the end. The last thing I want to make that's on my mind, and I have never been a big fan of this young man, and I never will be. And I think, once again, the Cleveland Browns made a huge mistake taking a quarterback with the 22nd pick in the draft. I just want to go back a few years to another 22nd pick in the draft in the first round. Brady Quinn, he was a big success. So they signed Johnny Football to 22nd pick this year. And last night he showed his true colors. He can't handle the pressure. He can't handle the taunts. And the last thing I got to say is, stay classy, Cleveland.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know if I can remember all the
Hey, can I say one thing real
Yes.
quick, Alan?
Yeah, because you got an extended. When they pick on you before we revisit,
Yeah.
it's an open
I just
shot
want to
back.
send out a couple of shout-outs to my man Devin Shea, not Ward, and Rookie of the Year.
Why?
And also, we got a brother back in the control room wearing the Savannah State Tiger sweatshirt.
His
Brings
name's
back
Ian. Say hi to Ian.
brings back memories when I go down to Ridgeland, South Carolina, the Piggly Wiggly, to pick up some victuals on my way to Savannah, Georgia, which is only about 7 miles across the border to sit there and watch some good football, including Shannon Sharp. So congratulations to Savannah State Tigers in the house. And that's for my shout out.
Okay. We'll do a special shout out.
Fantastic.
We're adding little segments here.
Segments before the segment.
Right.
Segment during the segment.
Yeah, exactly. Well, today would have been my dad's 83rd birthday, so I at least wanted to honor him by saying that. He would have loved to have been alive to even call in and bust some chops. He was a sort of humorous guy and could talk about a bunch of sports. So, I do miss him, and anybody that knows how close we were, I did want to put a shout out because people say, boy, wouldn't that be great that your dad could, watch you? I said he is.
Yeah, greatest fan
So,
in New Jersey. I
Yeah.
brought that up on Facebook. I saw that today.
Exactly. So, and if you saw his smiling face, and here's a vodka, an Absolute, and tonic, Dad. He would have enjoyed a drink right watching our show. Just like the Chiefs watching our show out there, he knew my dad and his family and all that stuff too. So what's on my mind is all the previous statements that they made, plus, because they covered everything that we would normally talk about. And since I drank the Kool-Aid with the Pirates, have no fear, the Bucks will be there. And let's go to revisitation.
I like that. I like that.
I could turn a phrase once in a while. Now, this Shazier thing, I remember when he was losing his stake, he had to leave, and now Shazier's the man.
Well,
what changed your mind? Training
What
camp?
I actually said was, and I'm still saying this, is the Steelers are playing with 3 linebackers instead of 4. And I thought that the Steelers in the Dick LeBeau system, you need a right outside linebacker that can do damage. And Shazier would be that man. And you get that bum Jarvis Too Slow Jones, who played his best game the last week, in street clothes, dapping everybody up when they come off the sideline. That's the best thing he's did.
I was going to tell you, I thought Jarvis Jones looked really good on Saturday night, don't you?
Yeah, he looked that's the best
on the
I've seen.
sideline in sweats.
He looked good.
But my pick, who I tried to get the Steelers to draft that they refused, arrogance, was Howard Jones out of Tiny Shepherd College, who is defensive coordinator there, is a good friend of mine. Bob Haley, which is the uncle of Todd Haley, the one that can coach. Wow. And Bob retired, but he was able to coach Howard Jones, and Howard Jones is doing an outstanding job. Hojo, put him in there.
Hey,
outside
he
linebacker.
dressed better than Todd?
No, they both dress like bums. I think that's where Todd got it from, man.
Don't judge a book by its cover, Smoking Jim.
Golly.
I'm reminded of a famous quote, and I forget who it was, the famous coach, and he said, crown him, crown. Remember that quote? Where the coach snaps out. Might have been Denny Green.
Denny Green, yeah.
Crown him. Go ahead, crown him. The jury's still.
It is what it is.
He's being so hard on Jarvis Jones. This kid Shazier barely made it through training camp with a trobe.
Had a boo-boo.
He had a boo. Yeah, he had a knee boo. He was so lucky to play in that preseason game against Buffalo. So that might be his only NFL taste.
No,
So
I got to give him credit because who wants to practice and then not play in a practice game? So he didn't practice. He got to play in a game. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
you guys that are all fired up about this season, let me give you a phrase. It's preseason.
Yeah, but
They help.
Being that it's the first preseason game that the Steelers have won in 2 years.
Sarcasm included.
Let's take into account, what the Steelers did. They got rid of the old and the slow players, and they brought in a bunch of young.
As they rebuild, like I've been saying.
They brought in a bunch of young, fast guys, and you know what? We're going to find out over the next 12 to 14 weeks what kind of a team the Steelers have, and I think it's going to be something that's going to evolve as the season goes on. I think one of the things that having Shazier on the inside really did, and if you didn't notice, that Troy Polamalu was actually able to play his position, and Troy was better at doing what he does because he didn't have to play inside.
He wasn't a linebacker.
In a linebacker position, and he's playing out of position. So, you got Mike Mitchell seemed to be, getting in people's faces. He's a pretty fast guy. We'll see what happens with him. The corners. Well, you know what? If they can put pressure with their linebacking core, that will make the corners look better. But all of this is going to be September 7th.
Here's the bottom line.
Corners are
Here's
pretty
the
bad.
bottom line. A nice schedule this year. When you get a nice schedule and you don't run out of bounds in the last game or two of the season, guess what? Playoffs.
But
11
if you know
and 5.
anything about that team,
11
though,
and 5.
that team loses games where it has wide open layups. It loses the easy games.
Well, sure,
and
just
then
like in
amazes
basketball,
with the
they
games.
can't make the bunnies.
To talk about something else in regards to Saturday night's game, I don't know if any of you have any strong feelings or any feelings about this at all, is that notice how with like 2 minutes left in the game, the Buffalo Bills went for the game-tying field goal in preseason. Okay, so that he can send a preseason game into overtime. Have you ever heard of anything more ridiculous? I mean, other than paying full price for a preseason game, but a preseason game going overtime? I mean, that's kind of ridiculous.
Here's what's ridiculous.
That would have been
Everybody-
great for our good friend Ross Ventrone if the game would have went into overtime.
Right.
Yeah.
We'd like to see that. But again, I think people forget these are like practice games. I mean, the young players, they have to play and get some experience. But it's more like practice.
Well, I used to agree with you, Al. I got to strongly disagree. And you're right, but I got to disagree with you because these idiots who's coaching the National Football League now, you're trying to find the best players, but you keep kicking the ball out of the end zone. How you going to find guys that can cover special teams if you keep kicking it out of the end zone? And then on game day, when the weather starts getting cold and the guys can't kick it out of the end zone, you're going to find out you have somebody that can.
But they
make
want to see their
tackles.
best kicker.
We already know they can kick
No,
it
the
out of the end
coaches-
zone. The Rookie of the Year can kick it out of the end zone in August. Look at those
no
legs.
way.
You got any heavy money left?
Yeah.
Because I'll take all that.
I'm doubling that.
No, I'll take all that.
Yeah, I'm
I want
doubling
all of that. But seriously, that is ridiculous about trying to kick a field goal to tie it up and to go into overtime. What do you have to lose in preseason? You might have a guy run for a touchdown or catch a pass.
I grew up in the era where there was 6 preseason games. So I want to be able to see that last guy, that Donnie Shell, who never would have made the NFL if it wasn't for the 1974 playoff strike. If he wasn't a scab, he never would have made it. If he didn't cross that picket line with Joe Gilliam, he never would have made it.
They've cut training camp in half.
Opportunities. You only get a few
training
opportunities.
Camp used to be 6 or 7 weeks long. They'd go up in the second week of July,
no contact
and they
up
would
to
and they played 2-a-days.
A lot of saltpeaters.
And I'll tell you what, you had tougher football teams than you have
I knew
now.
this would be good
Yeah,
revisitation.
now we've got a bunch of overplayed players that spend more time on the trainer's table than they do playing games.
it.
Because
But I
now
gotta-
they're each individuals, they're corporations.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You
know?
got a corporation, negotiate with a corporation. Millionaires negotiating with billionaires.
That's what you said
And
before.
this is what happens. It's called a compromise. Nobody wins. If they win in a contract, then the other side tries to come back the next time. So they split
There's
it
a
up.
small fraction of players that win in the preseason, and those are the guys like Jim Fraser alluded to, that are the guys chomping at the bit to make them 53-man roster. Like,
Yeah.
those are the guys.
That's what
you
I'm
know,
looking for.
The stars are trying to get through unscathed to keep that money, intact.
Well,
I don't blame them.
Whoever heard of Howard Jones a couple of weeks ago, now he's a household name. Scored the first touchdown of
And
preseason.
Andy
Now he
Skinny
took one
recovered
out
the
to
fumble
front.
on the game-winning drive.
That's it.
And
Joe.
But you look up for an example. You have Lamar Woodley. Here's a guy, he's blowing up everybody's offense, chasing quarterbacks all over the place. The minute he signs a big check, oh, my hamstring's sore.
Good point.
My calf's
Well, he had some.
sore.
And how
when
about
you have
that-
legs like that, you
How
gotta
about
stretch
that
them out.
story out
He
of
spent from the time he
Kansas City,
signed.
where the running back Charles got hurt moving boxes, moving out of training camp?
Yeah.
Holy
that's tough.
smokes!
That's why I
They
don't
don't have
move.
movers
Yeah.
in that agreement.
No.
with you?
No,
They
you
gotta
got
chew
to
their
bring
own
your
boxes?
own stuff.
You know what? They should have read Jody Velasquez's slick moving guide, and maybe he would.
Yeah, but that's the
Hey,
problem.
Jody, love
She
you,
told him
baby.
how to split it all up.
Is it talk about proper posture?
Ergonomics.
No,
That's
no,
all
no.
ergonomics. You got to bend and stretch.
I'm sorry, I have it, but I just haven't.
That was
read
on
it.
time.
Yeah, it's a good book. It's a good book on that.
I read some of it.
I gave
You
you
looked at the pictures.
Yeah.
She put pictures in
Yeah.
for you.
I like
Jim
that.
likes books on tape.
I know he does. Hey, speaking of books, since we're revisiting stuff, how's that book that Zach gave you?
I've been saving that for September 1st to start. I like to start.
Oh, you mean because we're not doing a show on September 1st?
Yeah, I like to,
Is that Labor Day?
I like to start at the beginning of the month when we're doing my reading.
Oh, do you?
Book
And then how long's that last? That day?
I gotta
Jim,
dig
if you
that
need
book.
some help, you just let me know. Hit me up.
Hey, we also got a question for
Private
folks.
message me.
What when you say Buck and Mac, referring to the linebackers positioning, or is that a code name for weak and strong?
Yeah, sure enough.
Okay, well, I'm just getting a
Well, that might be a
clarification.
help to your Steel Valley friend Renee out here who watches our show religiously.
Hi, Renee.
And she come to the show a few weeks ago just to see little Z, and he was missing in action. She was so disappointed, but she ended up being a star after the show and before with different things that she
Well, I go
brought
to
up.
Heinz Field every year, and Steel Valley's missing in action there too. Sorry, buddy. One day, right?
What day? What day is that?
Hey, listen, it took 30 years for Gateway to get somebody in the NFL. So, hey, we all have dreams.
And the Sandbox boys are digging a deep hole for each other. Hopefully they'll get out of that.
And I think, lastly, as far as Johnny football goes, is the NFL is going to catch up to this young man real fast, faster than he could ever imagine. If he gets to play, you know, Hoyer just might take that job and run with it because he's a little bit better than Johnny football. But I think Johnny football can make some plays in the NFL, or he could get Pat Whited down in Miami where he just gets
Whoa.
obliterated and his career's over.
Well,
I think Johnny Football's in for a rude awakening when he actually starts playing football, because I know that there's a lot of opposing players that were going to take great joy in snapping that little boy in half.
Well, luckily they don't have bounties. Sorry to
No,
interrupt
that's
you,
okay.
but they don't have bounties anymore. But what I think Cleveland should do is let him play right away. Just put him in, because you'll find out he's going to last 1 game, 2 games, 3 games, or none. And that's about it. Because when these guys start hitting him, there's no way he's going to take hits like that all game.
Well, Cleveland's first 3 games are Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and New Orleans. So,
Bingo.
well, we can't really say, you know, you can't measure the heart of a man. We're not sure what he can take, but I know that if I was the coach of Cleveland Browns right now, first of all, I have some wide receivers on my team, NFL caliber. But Johnny Manziel would sit the next game. He would be fined the next game. He would be made to publicly apologize. I don't care what somebody says to you. You got kids watching TV on Monday Night Football. You got kids in the game. You do not put your middle finger up. No matter what. He would sit out. That would be his discipline with me. And this is the thing I have against Johnny Manziel. Me and Chip Hayner was talking about this before. I don't care. I love showmanship. I don't care if you're dunking the basketball over the goalpost and getting penalized. I don't care if you're doing the Billy White shoes. I don't care if you're doing the all-Lee shuffle. If you can dish it out, you better be able to take it. Johnny Manziel, all that, this is big money, all of this stuff that he do, taunting everybody. When the shoe was on the other foot, he couldn't take it. And so I got a real problem with Johnny Manziel.
I couldn't agree with you more, Jim, and I think those are points that are very, very well taken. And, you know, the only problem is in the way that they the collective bargaining agreements. The coach probably has to check with the NFLPA to find out if he's allowed to discipline one of his players, which is a bunch of manure. Because if the coach had any stones, exactly what Jim said should be.
But it's even worse than that. Smoking Jim's right. We all agree with that. They don't play football like that. Whether it's in an agreement or not, they're not going to do that today because it's about the money. It's the brand of the NFL. If you're not bringing in billions, this guy is, what, #1 in jerseys?
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that a discipline would even matter? It wouldn't. They don't have to ask anybody. It's about PR.
You know, and I'll tell you what, it just speaks to how absolutely desperate the city of Cleveland is for any kind of a championship or something to hang their hat on. You know, LeBron James came back home, and he's probably the best opportunity that city has for them to ever see a championship. I don't think they're ever going to see one in the brown and orange.
Yeah, LeBron went back to Cleveland and bought a championship. Hey, Kevin Love.
And that's our revisitation. We covered stuff that I didn't even think was in the revisitation.
Yay!
Well, I'll touch lightly on Sip Sports Bar because I'm looking at the timer. We got about 26 minutes to go.
Wow.
You guys are, as predicted. Where's that heavy money on betting on revisitation? Well, Sip Sports Bar had a great crowd, a lot of great guests. First-time guest, Sarah Werner. She helped promote us and everything else. She ended up doing one of the best interviews that I've had on the show. So shout out to her and thanks. Covered a lot of ground on how you can get in fitness and get in shape. She does these camps every so often, so check it out. Check her website out. You'll hear more there. We had a musician, Rick Purcell, who wants to come back and maybe sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." He had such a good time. He can't wait to come back. So a lot of great things, and his wife Vera was there. She was support there. We had Sindel Barnes come back 2 weeks in a row. She's going after officially Zach Brenner's 33 record streak of coming to the show.
Good luck, baby girl.
She'll break it.
Good luck, baby girl.
Well, we will see. The gauntlet's been thrown down, and Mario's in the mix on that. Check out the wings they have Thursday night. Smoking Jim, I don't know the entertainment, but you said you had some build-your-own hamburgers that were great.
Double fister, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. And you know what he does? He puts a burger between two buns, and that was what he built. And he said it was delicious. So you can't beat stuff like that. Is it?
Speak no evil, buddy.
Oh, really?
Speak no evil.
A burger.
This is the part of the show.
It's a family show.
That's right.
Stand by.
We want to maintain our G
Please
rating.
stand by.
What's funny is how these guys' minds are in the gutters.
Oh, boy.
How does that happen?
It's because I wallow in them all day.
Okay. Well, they come out. Now, Sandbox is getting larger now. It just expanded. Shout out to Campiti's Pizza. Dawn, 50 cents a slice up there at Sip Sports Bar. I don't know what you can put that between, but you guys think of that. So try to take care of that. Check out their entertainment. Miss Freddie was out there a few weeks ago doing some blues. So there's all kind of things that happen out at Sips. See you next Monday. A lot of great guests. Sammy Vasquez will be there with his belt, so we'll see him in the Who Can. Sensational Sammy Can. That's what I hear. And that's our Sips Sports Bar segment. Oh, there was that ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, what
Chip.
about that?
Chip got the first one in. He was the first. Luckily, we had a side agreement with Chris Husser, who challenged us. He did it at home. We did it on the streets of West Liberty Avenue last night. If you check out the show, I posted it up. It's at the end of Pittsburgh Sportsline at Sips. Other people posted it last night because they were there. The official one is at the end of the show from yesterday. You have to check that out. Thanks to Devin Shea, who actually filmed that. Thanks to Erin Ward for posting it up on her phone. Rosemary Skaggs did the same thing, and Chris Husser did that also. So it was a lot of fun. Donate to AOS.org.
Who did you challenge?
Help
man?
them out. Who did what?
Who did you challenge?
Me.
Yeah.
You don't hear well, right? Well, Tom Liturgy, the announcer.
Trapper Tom.
Yeah. And two of them, Chip informed me, had already done it, Mr. Puniverse and Dr. Devastation. But I did tell him, I put a caveat in there, KSWA Wrestle. I said that they could do it, the whole team, even if they didn't want to. They're all tough guys.
Oh,
We
yeah.
saw them in action. There's some guys that they might need a whole
Did you see
Bucket of-
Mr. Puniverse when it was 8 below zero? He walked.
yes. Yes, but that wasn't for ALS.org. This is what that's
No,
for.
and it raised awareness for ALS. It's a debilitating and a fatal disease. One of my customers, her son, is afflicted with the disease right now, and what he's going through is absolutely horrible. I thought this was a great way to raise funds and awareness for a disease that we need to find a cure for.
And John Nieder III, his dad had passed away due to complications to that disease. So to him and any other people that suffer that, Jamie Chesney posted up when she did.
She did it twice.
She did it twice that we know of.
I
Who
like to
knows what
see that.
happens?
Family member.
I like
too.
to see
Yeah.
that
Good
one.
friend.
First
Smoking
off,
Jim, you should have seen that one
in a
already.
bikini. I'm sure you've got it.
How did you miss
On
that?
DVD.
He didn't see it. He really didn't see it. He didn't see it. He didn't know that till now.
Yeah, I gotta look it up.
And that's what we have.
Anywhere near that water.
Hold it. Zach Brenner, who did you challenge?
Well, I had challenged Dan J, Greg, the Lumberjack Rudolph, and Brutal Brendan Barrett. So
They're all in, I heard.
They're all in. So
And Trapper Tom's going to wait till a date to be announced. I
he's
said, I
working.
don't mind.
Yeah.
He worked last night. He's working.
Yeah, but
tonight.
he's gonna get it.
Nobody is done with work.
Hey, you know.
I mean, when you work 20 hours a day cutting grass in the dark, you'd throw a bucket of water with ice on your head after you got
I tell you
done.
what, it felt quite refreshing after a hot and sweaty day. You know, running up and down hills.
Especially-
I'm just
today.
saying. It's
Today
an
would've been a
available
good
thing
day.
out there. All right, we better move on because now we're down to 28 minutes left.
Uh-oh.
This is unbelievable. You ready? This is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, everybody knows that I met Ice-T a few years back because I followed Coco around.
We heard that story.
If-
We heard about that one.
You know, people were. We actually have people that watch this show every week, so
They've heard
you're recycling some.
Let me write this down. This is the 14th
This is the 14th time that we've heard about Jim Frazier and Coco.
Coco.
Woo!
This week.
And,
Ice-T.
and my favorite actor
Ice-T.
may be Ice Cube. But last night I witnessed Ice Bucket, Fiction and Fact. And I tell you what, I couldn't be more proud of Al Levine, the talking machine, and Lil Z, Zach Brenner. I tell you what, it was almost like Hollywood at the red carpet. They went outside and there was cameras flashing. I mean, we're talking about on the street of West Liberty Avenue. And cars was stopping, traffic was stopping, and then Al Levine did it. He took off his shirt, and I tell you what, you don't get a big chest like that through green tea. Maybe Little Z been slipping in some PEDs, brother, because I was surprised how chiseled Al Levine, the talking machine, was. But I tell you what,
Thanks,
I know
Smoking
the
Jim.
challenge went there, and I know there was probably some ice put in the bucket, but all of us, we still looking for that ice, so you guys may have to do it again and add a little bit more ice this time. But that's Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Everybody watching that great event. That was great.
Smoking Jim, as you always do, you put in some good, and then you put some investigative reporting into it. Now, there is a contingency here that Smoking Jim was called out.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for that.
He's like the Wicked Witch. He's like the
It
Wicked
means that you're supposed to do it.
Hey, he's like the Wicked Witch of the West. He'll go, I'm melting.
And speaking of melting, that's what happened to the ice because the water was very cold. I don't know how the water would be cold if there weren't ice in it.
Maybe you shouldn't have used the water you brewed your green tea in.
They wouldn't let me drink any green tea.
The overnight report overnight was, man, Levine is sure buff. That's
Wow.
what was coming across the wire all night.
You guys
Levine
are just-
ripped out of his shirt like Hulk
That's
Hogan.
why I wear these bulky shirts there.
Hey, but folks, you're gonna have to tune into the bloopers because afterwards, Levine tries to put on a little tank top and gets wrapped up in it.
With the pink- with the pink-
He tried to put it on. He got
tried to
tangled
put
in
it
it.
on. I couldn't
He got
put it on.
tangled in it, and he was fighting to get out.
You know what? They cut all of that. The bloopers are gone. Nobody saved that. And that Sarah Werner, thanks for that tank top for a woman that we survived your boot camp or whatever. That's awesome. They'll make great gifts this year.
For Jim Frazier's girls.
Not all of them. Only one special, BFFFFFFXYZ. All right, that's enough fiction and fact, because I think there was a lot of fiction in that, but thank you
I thought
very
there was
much.
more fact.
Oh, really? Is that his most factual one?
I think so. He hit the nail right on the
Did he?
yeah.
You guys are awesome in the
Green tea,
sandbox.
man. Green tea, man. Get you jacked up.
I've been telling you. Keeps you lean and mean, guys. Thanks. All right. Chip, I don't know how we got to trivia time, but it's been a long path to get here.
It's been a circuitous path, but we
Very
made our way.
circuitous.
Okay,
What does that
just
Circle.
once again, in the midst of a baseball stretch drive, I'm going to throw some baseball trivia your way. Now,
Surprising.
tonight, Andrew McCutcheon's coming back from being having an injured rib, which he feels, and a lot of people feel, was a result of him being beamed in the middle of the back a couple of weeks ago. Well, that made me think about another famous beaning in baseball. and it probably ended one of the most promising young careers of modern baseball players, somebody who seemed to be destined to set and break a bunch of records and make the Hall of Fame. There was a gentleman named, on September the 18th, 1967, a gentleman named Tony Conigliaro was on fire, and he was a Red Sox outfielder, and he was just an amazing athlete. He was 22 years old. He could do it all. They say he was a five-tool player. Tony Conigliaro was hit in the left cheekbone with a fastball in the fourth inning. And, as a result of that, he missed the remainder of the 1967 season, and he missed the entire 1968 baseball season. And the sad thing about all this, it pretty much ended his career because he did play sporadically after that, but never regained the magic he had before. But at 22 years old, he had already had more than 100 home runs hit in his young career before he got beamed, and that kind of ended his career. And that's, there's always been that unwritten rule in baseball about, about the beatings. And, I just don't see anything good happening about it. I think it's about time, you want to put something out of baseball, let them run into catchers, eliminate the beanball. And I think a lot less people will get hurt, and people would enjoy baseball a lot more. Next, I got on August the 12th, 1921, George Smith, somebody that nobody's ever heard of before or since.
I didn't hear him.
He did one, and I found amazing thing, and you know how my affinity for pitchers. He gave up 12 hits in a game, and he still pitched a shutout against the Philadelphia. He's pitching for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he beat the Boston Braves 4-0. Now, I don't know how you can give up 12 hits and not allow the other team to score a run. There had to be some magic involved in that. But I thought that was a pretty interesting statistic.
That's a great piece of trivia.
Next, I want to go back to the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers. Mickey Mantle, who was another amazing baseball player, Hall of Famer, whose career was cut short by a knee injury. On August the 12th, 1964, Mickey Mantle hit a home run from both sides of the plate. He was a switch hitter. That was the 10th time in his career that he had done that. That is a Major League Baseball record, and that's something that's worth making note of.
One of my favorites.
August, and I actually do, when I saw Mickey Mantle play, it was on TV when I was a child. I saw him at the tail end of his career, and I didn't get to see the Mickey Mantle of the 1950s that was just, bashing the ball everywhere.
He could outrun some brothers.
Oh man, he could.
I think he had the fastest time to first base.
Yeah, he had it all. He had an arm. He could hit for average. He could hit for power. I mean,
hence
just
the five-tool theory in baseball.
Yeah, he may have been. August the 12th, 1974. I brought this up last week about Nolan Ryan. 3 times he struck out 19 batters in a single season. August the 12th, 74 was one of those days. August the 14th, 1937, the Detroit Tigers scored 36 runs in a doubleheader, which is a major league record. They won the first game 16-1. They won the second game 20-7 against the St. Louis Browns, and that still to this day is a major league record. A play that you almost never see. Well, I don't think any of us can recall ever seeing this happen. I know it used to happen a lot decades ago. Was stealing home plate. That's one of the most exciting plays in baseball.
I saw some steals.
And you don't see. I bet you haven't seen one in 30 years.
Marty Wills was doing it when he played here.
Another insignificant name that maybe other than his parents, people don't know. A guy named Vic Power. On 8/14/1958, he stole home twice. He stole home in the 8th inning. Stole home in the 10th inning. And the amazing thing about this was he only had 3 steals all year. So we're not talking about somebody like Lou Brock or Maury Wills. This is a guy that, by the luck of the draw, he happened to do it twice in one game.
Wonder who was pitching.
Don't have that information.
Next week.
I'll find out for you. August the 13th, 1906. I always talk about the pitch counts with pitchers and how these guys nobody pitches complete games anymore. Here's a real good statistic. Because back then, they had all these performance-enhancing drugs, so everybody was on them, right? August 13th, 1906, Jack Taylor of the Cubs was chased in the 3rd inning, ending a streak of 187 complete games and 15 relief appearances that Taylor finished without help. That
Wow.
is amazing.
Sound like Grilly.
I'm telling you.
What? Grilly's gone.
Yeah, Grilly's.
Okay, now we're going to go back into Pirates history here, all the way
Nice.
back to August the 13th, 1910. The Pirates played the Brooklyn Dodgers. The game played to an 8-8 tie. Each team had 13 hits, 12 assists, 2 errors, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 hit by pitch batter, and 1 pass ball. What are the chances of that ever happening again? I'd probably say right here, nothing. I thought that was just an amazing statistic that
That
both
is.
teams could have it, and the game ended up in an 8-8 tie. And last but not least, something that we've got a player in baseball right now, just passed Honus Wagner last week with his 3,421st hit to pass Honus Wagner at 3,420. I don't think we're going to see 3,000 hit baseball players much in the future, but on August the 13th, 1979, the great Lou Brock reached 3,000 hits.
Nice trivia. Thank you, Chip. All right, we'll go to Z time. What do you got for us, Z?
I'm just sifting through the rubble.
What-
Do we got a pirate
Hey,
segment? We got
speaking
a
of
pirate
Rebel,
segment.
Barney, what an actor.
Yeah, I got a pirate segment.
Hey, still to come, folks?
Yeah, we even got
All right, I
Steelers,
won't-
we got boxing,
I
we got
won't harp
MMA.
on.
You
the
talk
Buckeyes
whatever you
yet.
want, and I'll just eliminate it. That's how simple I'll work here. I'll scratch one.
I'm still looking over. I think the reason why Jim Frazier's so enamored with Ryan Shazier is Shazier kind of rhymes with Frazier in his mind.
Frazier,
Yeah, Frazier, Shazier, you know.
smoking.
Check
Ryan.
the bloodlines.
Yeah, he anointed
We
him.
covered that. They're
He
cousins.
anointed him, smoking Ryan Shazier in a preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, I mean, Fiction and Fact was great.
I didn't know Z Time was critiquing smoking Jim in the sandbox. You guys kicking sand at each other? Because you're not 98-pound weaklings there.
Some
These two
notes
are
on
big guys here.
Lou Gehrig's disease. It is quite the debilitating disease that they don't really have a cure for. Part of the challenge is you don't just dump water on yourself to get out of donate money for the charity. Like, you donate money for the charity regardless of whether or not you dump a bucket of water on yourself or not. That's just a little thing a gimmick that somebody came up with to make it fun, to raise awareness and get people to donate money to just causes, because there's so many causes out there that are unjust.
And they're doing it with other things, too. They're doing ice water bucket challenges with other fundraising things.
I think it's, I've saw some creative ways. I saw some guys that I know fill up the front bucket of a Bobcat
Chris
and
Dempsey.
dump it on themselves. I was quite impressed with that. I've seen guys. What the one that I put up today, if you go on my Facebook page, if you're my friends, is a guy was getting ready to dump a tub of water onto his girl, and has gator arms. Levine, he got gator arms, and just drops it right onto her head.
Zach, I saw that, and at first thought I was like, well, that's kind of funny, but then I'm like, is she brain damaged or what, man? Because that thing cracked her in the skull, and I mean, I know it's kind of funny, but I thought about like, oh boy.
Well, most things we think are funny when somebody's
Yeah,
injured.
Yeah, but
Well,
I mean,
It usually
they
isn't.
got shows on MTV where ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek, where quite ridiculous things happen to people, even more than that. And I'm willing to bet that she might have had a concussion. In all honesty, she probably had a concussion.
Well, then the ice would have helped.
The moral of the story would be to you, young lady, to find a stronger man that can pick up the tub.
And this
dump
is
the
part
ice
of
water
our
on you.
fiction segment. And don't practice this at home, with people that are incompetent or have gator arms. If you noticed, I didn't have a problem dousing myself with water. So it's just doing it to others.
Yeah, but one day I'm just walking underneath the ladder and I just get bopped in the head with a piece of wood, and I just happen to look up, man, and there's gator arms Levine. Weak armed it, and I got bopped in the head. So gator arms is a.
Don't put me 30 feet in a ladder, my friend. That's what you should have learned. Yeah, he didn't learn much.
Oh, this is
You don't
true.
put me up 30 feet in a ladder. He doesn't mention that.
No, I mean, but if folks, if you want to know the story,
And he survived. Look at his head.
Al
maybe
Levine.
not.
Al Levine was one of the
Size a
first.
small planet.
Al Levine was one of the first individuals that I ever saw walk up a ladder that was pretty much almost completely vertical, up and down.
What is this?
And thank God that there was some thorn bushes below, because when he went up this vertical
I still
ladder,
got a couple here.
when he
Thanks.
went up this vertical ladder, it was so straight up and down that he didn't last on it very long.
You just hope you can have good guidance by your friends when you're helping out.
Who was spotting you?
Oh, they said you don't need it. They said hold on to the ladder. I go, are you serious? They're like, yeah.
Alan, I want to say.
I didn't say that.
I want to
I
say
didn't
some
say that.
beachfront property.
I didn't say
I've
that.
already owned it.
I didn't say that, but in all, I mean,
Thanks for Z time. I
you were all
appreciate
right.
it. Oh, okay.
You
Still,
made you stronger. I saw last night during that ice water challenge. All that time at BC, man, Levine's lean, and it's all natural. There's no peds, no peds at BC.
thanks.
PED free.
PED
Thanks.
free.
And I appreciate your endorsement.
That's what I said. All the text last night when the people saw them videos, they're like, "Wow, Levine ripped out of his shirt like the Hulk."
Well, for fundraising, FUN capitalized, drazing. That's what it is. If you get upset at this stuff, don't do it. If you don't want to donate, don't do it. If it's a good cause you believe in, do it. That's
Wow.
how simple it is.
Well, I've saw people that have taken the stance that, you know, there's kids in Africa that don't have clean water, and we're dousing ourselves with big giant buckets full of water with ice. You
Yeah,
know?
but
So-
here's the thing. How would we get that water to Africa? That's a question I have for him. So here's what you do. There's certain straws you can buy that recycle the water and improve it. Go buy those. Check them out online.
No.
You can't move our water from here. We can't solve everybody's
Sure you
problem.
can. It evaporates. It goes up into the jet stream.
No, it drops down
makes
here
its way
quickly.
over to Africa
no.
and comes down.
You're
to
no
Britain.
scientist. You
It
might
comes
be
down
a,
in rain. Yeah.
you might be a trivia guy, but you might be a
I give-
trivia
I
guy,
give
but
you
that's
a,
not.
thought-
a new way to define making
Ask,
it rain.
ask General Studies right here. What's the
He doesn't even know about evaporation.
Well, can I say one thing real quick?
Say two, because
I'll
we
say one thing
ran
real
wild
quick.
here.
Listen, I would never been able to get my general studies degree if I went to Notre Dame. I thought that tutors were supposed to do your papers for you and take your tests online, and that's all I got to say.
They didn't have online back then.
I'm just saying they got it now.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
in fairness
So how-
to
how
in
long-
Good
fairness-
point.
Now, in
Smoking Jim,
fairness
that's an
to
excellent
educational
point.
standards.
How long do you think Brian Kelly's going to stay employed at Notre
He
Dame?
said he had nothing to do.
He had nothing to do.
Yeah, right.
And
I
that's
would
late
like to-
breaking
I would
news.
like-
Jim Tressel.
There's a huge difference in educational standards. No, I don't think Jim Frazier graduates from California University in 2014. I don't think he would have. The rules the way they are now, you actually have to
It'd have been
study.
easier.
Put it like this. No one smoke. Hey, Zach, usually I agree when you're making a comment against his educational standards, but no one's smoking Jim the last 3 years. If he were in the educational system right now, he would be a superstar.
I might have went for my master.
He would have got his master's. He might have 3 degrees. He might have 3 degrees. That's how good he is, because he's very smooth on the educational front. And if you're going to let
Talking
him
about
play,
homeschooling.
he's beyond homeschooling. He's computer schooling. Look what he does with that phone. It's magic. It may not work right. Don't call him or email him. That's all I could say. 'Cause he- what's,
Love
whoa,
it. You got to love it.
nice. You've got latest technology.
What's it say?
I can't reveal. It's a
Thank
family
you,
show.
guy that
This-
had
this-
me drafted. It doesn't even say that. He doesn't even thank Jim Frazier for getting drafted onto the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a brother
When
move.
you got that on
Yeah.
the helmet,
That's a brother move.
Definitely.
You don't give credit where
Well,
credit
we're
is due.
winding down. We wanted to at least talk Steelers for a minute or two, Smoking Jim, since we covered some of it. What is your prediction now after Shazier, Frazier?
Well, my official prediction won't come out until after the last preseason
Okay.
game when they make the final cuts. This is a mediocre team.
Okay.
The mediocre team has been moved. You know, the San Diego Chargers was a mediocre football team when they went to the Super Bowl, and it was because of Junior Seau. and we got the modern day Junior Seau right.
He's on that
now.
bandwagon so strong.
This
I like
guy,
it.
I'm telling you, for the whole thing for defense is getting that offense off the field. And this guy he can stop you short of that first down. He can make a play. He can recover fumbles. This is a guy that can make a 3-game difference. Now, we lost 3 games when we fired Bruce Arians.
Okay.
He can recover some of those games back for us now. Right now, I'm
Did you
looking
say
at 11
genius?
to
Because
5.
every time you say Arians, I think genius.
I
You
noticed
think
he's
genius,
backed away
yeah.
from the genius, and the genius, his boys are dropping like flies out in the desert.
okay.
He
He's
just
already-
lost Dockett
he's-
for the season.
Well, good luck,
We'll
Steelers.
see how much the genius
He's
can do.
already
on Arizona.
NFL Coach of the Year.
Well,
you can't take that
it
away from
may
him.
be all that, but if he's counting on Carson Palmer to take him to the promised land, he's no genius.
Well, they're the defending world champions. Arizona's the defending world
Of what?
champions. They're the last team to beat Seattle. That's dropping the mic. That's what that is. That's dropping the mic, brother.
Smoking Jim, that was so
He just
strong.
took the air
I'm
out of the
dropping the
show.
mic.
He
Everybody
just
just
took
got
the air.
quiet.
If I
You
had
know
a
what,
yellow flag,
John,
I would throw the red flag, the yellow flag.
Jim,
If I could find a flag, oh, there it is. The flag come out. I hate to tell everybody, Mary, your son is still
Hey,
alive. Hey,
it was a white towel. Now it's kind of getting. It's kind of.
I need a new one.
It's time for some time.
Hey, put my shoulders off, Jim.
I need a new one now.
I'm on the back.
You sucked so much air out of the room that John the Tiger Kiger passed out. Mary, he's alive again. He's adjusting to put Brenner Contracting back on the map. Just don't climb ladders with Brenner Contracting.
That's not true.
Well, not if you're Al Levine.
The more important thing is don't listen to Ron
Uh,
when climbing ladders up there.
And sorry to add these personal things in here. It just happened a few weeks ago.
Does Brenner contract to hire anybody with brother names?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we might be one of the only minority contractors in the city of Pittsburgh, in the greater Pittsburgh area. Brenner Contracting.
Labor ready.
Hey, since
Better
we,
than labor.
we got some boxing to talk about. Smoking Jim, there's supposed to be boxing this weekend that we still haven't found out about
Just
it
got a
yet.
call from Jimmy Sabetic, so
I'll bet it's on the 23rd.
yeah.
And
sure
we don't have a camera yet or a camera person.
I
Because I said we don't know.
details.
Yeah, it's one of the details we
He's
do need.
working on it.
Okay.
Smoking Jim will be running around with his Mr. Microphone.
Yeah, that's it.
He can bring it, but he won't
He
be on
looked hot. He
TV.
looked hot at Ivy. Jim
Hey, you
Frazier
know
looked
what?
hot.
In his mind's eye.
I know, but you can't tell all the boxers are going to be on TV and then
Don't,
do.
don't burst his bubble.
Everything's fine. We'll talk after the show.
Hey, from
Zach,
what I heard, Jim
What?
Frazier down in Ivy was like Al Levine and Little Z Who. Like, Jim Frazier was Pittsburgh Sports Line.
He did all
You
of it.
heard me. I gave credit. I gave credit out there.
I watched it. I also watched them.
I also saw the ring car girls fanning you in the corner and trying to get you fluids. You were dehydrated.
Well,
was dressed like Johnny Cash.
special shout out to Jimmy Savetic, who helped you out.
Yeah, he did.
He was in rare form again.
Yeah, he was.
Luckily, he didn't have any Levin furniture jokes.
When is he not?
He gets up each day like that.
I'm telling you what, God bless
The
him.
Bull, Michael Manna, thanks.
Who was feeling
Michael
under the
Shook.
weather for that fight. He was
Peyton
sick.
Brooks.
Peyton Brooks, come in there. Smoking Jim said she would get to announce sometime. He's a visionary, folks. Listen to him. When he
Yeah,
says
right.
the Steelers want to be 8-8 and they're not great, you listen to that because it could change. Stay tuned. Anybody that comes up with a phrase like that, they don't want to be great. They'll just be 8-8. I have to say it because who could say it better than you? I might have had that one in. Z, anything on boxing you want to bring up? Steel Nation Boxing, I want to announce again. Here's our blogger, Steel Nation blogger.
Pretty good, too. I'm proud of him.
I know you read 3
I
sentences
read
2
most-
times.
I read some of his stuff.
Oh, he's going to finish it.
Yeah. There are some great
He got
articles.
started.
I
by
happen
the-
to be
by the
a,
end of the month.
I actually happen to be a witness each time he was writing.
That's his August read.
Well,
Well, I mean, to tell you the truth, How exciting is it, though, that we're pretty much at the forefront of the revitalization of boxing in Pittsburgh? We've been on the front of the car of the train, not at the back. We're at the front of the train, in the forefront. Mac, is Mac? No, nothing.
Well, just to interrupt you, Smoking Jim's been trying to ride that train. They finally let him on. He even did a whole show by himself, you know, and people stepped up to help him. So I'm proud of that. And everything Pittsburgh Sports Line's involved with, I appreciate all you guys.
You
and the
guys
help
were on
and the
Fox
promote.
53.
Right.
I've been on Showtime. I did the Cal U fights all by myself.
Please don't bring Cal U up here. It's really irritating me. There aren't many things that irritate me, but after 4 hours in a car with Smoking Jim, and it was only an hour trip, and I'm serious that I go, Smoking Jim, didn't you travel this way?
He didn't even know 43 existed.
No, he
was
knew.
like, ooh.
He knew. He goes, we don't take that.
Zach's been on Showtime. Al and Jim have been on Fox, and I wake up every day glad I'm me.
Hey,
Yeah.
and I'd also like
we
to
do
give
too.
credit to Al Levine and Sean, the official photographer at Pittsburgh Sportsline. Go check out the photograph of me and Mike Tyson. We made amends for the debacle that took place earlier in the spring.
And I'm going to have Sean, who's a graphic designer, that picture that I took that some people keep teasing me about, I'm going to have him grow Zach Brenner's head. And they're going to grow Mike Tyson's head on there.
CGI.
The incredible growing head.
Yes, so we'll try to correct that.
I was going back to something that Jim said when I saw that picture. The chin should be in.
Right. Well, here's what I said. The chins are over there to highlight the magazine.
Well, don't forget to give a shout out to Bill Boyce.
Who?
Yeah, we've got to give a shout out
International.
to International photographer.
Master photographer.
Worldwide.
Outer space. He was in
113
outer
confirmed
space.
kills in Vietnam.
Wow, veteran of the United States.
And
Armed Services.
every model in the city of Pittsburgh that we've had on our show, he's either taken a photo while they're on the show, or somehow the 9 million photos he has, he goes, Sarah Werner, look, here's her photo. How can he not find Gladiators of the Cage
Oh,
photos?
where's my photo with Mel Blunt?
Yeah, and we're
At a
Smoking
great
Jim's
event.
photo with all the Steelers, because him and Bill Neal kept everybody there, and then we were allowed to get
I like
photos.
to hear about the Sips photos.
And he stands strong on that. And one thing, we're not here to criticize Bill Boyce. We're here to thank him for all the photos.
Yeah.
He put photos up so quickly. This was a world's record, Smoking Jim.
It was.
First time ever. So he is one of the best as of today, in my book.
I'll second that.
And we're going to close this out with just about more craziness here. We wanted to shout out to Stevie Chambers, Usher. He's fighting
Big
on
fight.
Big
fight.
Showtime on the Broner card.
Undercard, yeah.
Yeah, which
Against
is awesome
Berto.
there. So congrats to him. I told him today on Facebook, wear whatever hat you want. If it's a San Francisco 49er hat, I'm okay with that. And just so you win. If you win, put whatever hat you have on.
He has a tall task. As
He's going to win. I predicted here on Pittsburgh Sportsline. How can he not? We got good karma, according to Smoking Jim Frazier.
Berto. Yes.
Berto.
A monster.
So stay
He's fighting
tuned
a
to that.
monster. He's
Stay
fighting
t-
Andre Berto
Yeah.
in his first fight back. There's Andre Berto.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's chiseled.
Yeah, he's no joke.
Okay,
So-
we're counting down.
You know what? This is it, folks. Thanks again for watching us on Verizon 32, Comcast 7 only in Bethel Park. Thanks to Dave Cable for all the editing with the Ice Bucket, with the show yesterday. Thanks to Aaron Ward and Devin Shea for all that they do. Good night, folks. See you next week. Come on out to Sip Sports Bar.